Citations, everyone. With every week of the Shadowlands, we've been toiling away at securing our leaders that Sylvanas had taken from Azeroth directly into Torghast. And thus far, everything has been going pretty smoothly. We've saved Bane, Jaina, and Thrall from the grips of the Jailer, and prevented them from becoming his dutiful servants. But one outlier remains, and that is Anduin Wrynn, King of the Alliance, who is still in fact missing, and the Jailer has some pretty big plans for him. Today's video will contain spoilers and potential spoilers going into Shadowlands, so you've been warned. From the very beginning of our trip into the Shadowlands, right into the Maw, the Jailer has shown a great interest in each of the leaders of the Alliance and Horde. However, for the most part, none of them were able to impress him, and were unworthy of his plans. Except, of course, Anduin, who managed to thwart his power momentarily to buy us enough time to escape the Maw, and journey into Oribos. This gained the Jailer's attention quite a bit and had him be given a very special suite within the Tower of Torghast. Sylvanas Windrunner, now an agent of the Jailer, even tells Anduin face-to-face what their plans are, and that he is to be their weapon to tear down the currently established order throughout the cosmos. We'll get to how they'll manage to do that with Anduin in a bit. Anduin is of course not on board with their plans, and he's always been a champion of peace, and is really just tired of Sylvanas and her shenanigans in general. They do offer him a choice, but the Jailer really has no time to wait much longer with Denathrius disposed of, so he has Sylvanas ask him one last time before they convert him by force. To which it's left with a cliffhanger on what she does next to Anduin, after he had gotten her to realize that she still has some hope left inside of her, that the Windrunner that we all know and love, the Ranger General, might be able to eclipse the Banshee Queen. Here's where the title of the video comes in, and where I draw that lovely little question into your lovely little heads: will Anduin be turned into the next Lich King? This actually has a double meaning behind it too. There's a simple version where the Helm of Domination is restored and Anduin is forced to wear it, and will be the will of the Jailer, or he'll be something akin to the Lich King. The way I see it, the Jailer, as described by Bolvar, clearly had influence within the Helm of Domination, and I think he very much was trying to gain control of Ner'zhul, Arthas, and Bolvar, and I think he succeeded at times. However, each of the Lich Kings I just described to you were failures in their own right. Ner'zhul required Arthas more than he ever realized, and that dependency led to his own downfall at the hands of his protege. Arthas, in his own hubris, believed that the champions of Azeroth would be the perfect army to make his undead wonderland a reality. Unfortunately, we proved too successful, leading to his own demise. And lastly, Bolvar, the very on-purpose worst Lich King, was only ever meant to hold back the Scourge and not rally them. Sylvanas herself even calls him unworthy, and I've been drawn to that ever since. All of those kings were unworthy by their own measure. Arthas was the most successful out of all of them, and now the Jailer has someone who might not only be able to be just as powerful as Arthas, but succeed him. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Little man Anduin succeeding Arthas? That's a stretch. That's bullshit. But I'm not so much focusing on the person of Anduin, but rather what he embodies. Not only is Anduin a proficient wielder of the light, he's also fully capable of wielding the void, as shown in a novel of Shadows Rising, where he nearly blasts Syrah full of the stuff before backing out. They've also been building up to Anduin and Arthas' relation all the way since the end of Mista Pandaria, through the word of Garrosh, who compared the two. Then in Battle for Azeroth, they showed Anduin in similar shots and poses that Arthas did in Warcraft 3, or just in general in World of Warcraft. This has been building up for a while, and it makes sense that Anduin just might be more like Arthas than he thought, willingly or unwillingly. And if there's a possibility for Anduin, while under the possession of the jailer, to wield not only death, but also the light and the void, that would make Anduin a very massive threat to the cosmic order. Someone who is capable of wielding all three of those at once, plus the jailer controlling his actions, is quite overpowered. This is how I believe the jailer intends to break the Shadowlands, and then break the other cosmic realms, through the use of someone like Anduin, who's strong in the light and potentially in the void. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean that he will be exactly Lich King we're familiar with. He'll either don it again after it's been repaired, which I do think will happen sometime in this expansion through our lovely friend, the Rune Carver, or the jailer will forcefully possess him through other means, perhaps in a perfected Helm of Domination that surpasses the previous one, or through the newly made Shadowlands that we see in the latest cinematic, which I must add looks absolutely sick. As I don't think the jailer is fully capable of escaping the Maw or the Shadowlands, so he needs a vessel just like before, but a human, or rather a mortal vessel who is not quite dead, but very much alive, or at the very least undead. This is very similar to how the largest menace in the cosmos, Sargeras, operated, where he was so powerful and large that he needed a vessel to commence his operations on Azeroth, via the Last Guardian, Medivh. This is what I think the endgame will be for Shadowlands. I think that Anduin, possessed by Zovol, aka the Jailer, will enter into Azeroth, followed by his army from the Maw, plus the Scourge all around Azeroth. They would join forces together in trying to take Azeroth and her world soul completely. Either Zovol would be destroyed or imprisoned once again. I'm leaning towards destroying that bugger because he'll just start this shit all over again. Whether Anduin will be alive or undead or dead after this is hard to say. I would prefer if he comes out of this alive, but I also think it'd make him interesting if he carried some form of defect or scar from this time in the Maw, as to not make the expansion feel fillery. It would be cool if the next expansion following after this, we would need to, say, go to the Realm of the Light to acquire something to cure Anduin. That'd be pretty cool as a follow-up to the expansion, because who wants undead Anduin? Besides the undead, I guess. There's still that prophecy that villains saw of Anduin leading the Alliance, Horde, dragons, and so on and so forth against a dark army, and whether they'll still come to pass is hard to say. Visions like that have proven to become false and not happen. I personally want Anduin to come out of this at the very least alive, but I think he'll forever wear those scars he's gained from the Maw to some degree. Following this, either Anduin will remain as the Lich King to ensure that the Scourge or the Maw remains in check, or Bolvar will don it once again to be the proper Lich King we've wanted since the end of Wrath of the Lich King. Which would make a lot of sense for Bolvar to do that for Anduin this time around, to not let the young king bear any more burdens. Plus, he was a bit of a father figure for him back in the day. Or the duty of the Lich King won't be necessary, or it'll be passed to another. Then once returned home, Anduin gets to see just what his alliance has been up to. But that's for another video for another day. Regardless, I do think the Lich King will have a very large role to play in Shadowlands, either as our enemy once again, or as something else entirely. It was his helm that jump-started this whole thing, so it'd be weird to leave him out of it completely. But what do you guys think? Do you think that the Jailer will make Anduin the next Lich King, or something like it? Or do you think the term weapon was more literal, and that he'll be some kind of battery of some kind, for some weapon the Jailer has cooped up somewhere? Let me know down below. You can follow me on Twitter to hear me shitpost or talk about my opinions a lot if you'd like. You can join us on Discord to talk about all sorts of things. Or if you really want to, you can go and follow me on Twitch, where I'm not very active, but I'll try to do things more on there when I have the free time. Also, if you like these videos, you can support me on Patreon like these amazing folks here. But until next time, my friends,